What would you say for both of y'all was the biggest problem in y'all's relationships that y'all have had so far? Like, or top, like the most common problems that y'all have had as women dealing with men?
Um, Cheating. Cheating's a big one.
Definitely.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Today we have another podcast with two good friends of mine. One of them I've known for about 10, 11 years. Another one I've probably known for a few months now. Would you guys like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Jen.
hmm And Jen's a girl I've known for 10 years. And Brianna?
I'm Bri. I'm Brianna Sanchez. So,
All right. So one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on, Brianna, Jen's been on our guest before, like in a couple of my episodes, is because we met each other, me and Jen, in Las Vegas. We were at the Bellagio, and you guys were in the conservatory, in the garden, and stuff like that. But
yeah,
so it was just cool. Like we talked, we hung out for a while, we had a good time. And yeah,
yeah,
but there's something that you said that I had found really interesting because I do like getting straight into it. It was when we were all in the hotel room just having a few drinks and stuff. It was you said that you think women do want to submit. Do you still believe that, or has your view kind of changed?
I feel like it's. I mean, it depends, obviously, from girl to girl,
hmm
but I feel like it's to a certain extent. Like a woman wants to submit, but also wants to like have her boundaries and not be that submissive. Where it's like that whole patriarchal standard of like a man. Like being like the breadwinner and like submit in that type of way. I don't think they would want to do that, but submit. Whereas like, oh, I want to be taken care of, or like my love, this and that. Kind of like that. I kind of feel like to a certain extent, yeah, still stands.
So, so what does submit mean to you exactly when you say that? Because I've noticed now, like obviously, from when I was, in high school and college, like things have changed a lot. It used to be more of, I guess, more fun, to be honest. Now it kind of seems like it's like a lot of the girls are a little bit more masculine, more like kind of like they have more of an attitude about being independent. Like I have to be independent. I don't want like no man to take care of me. I don't need this. I don't need that. But it's like it's that exact energy that when you get into a relationship with someone that actually, especially with the masculine guy, it actually repels him. And because guys don't want to get into a relationship with a masculine woman, because often what happens is if we
Mhm.
do, like we start butting heads with each other. It's like we're both trying to like fight to be kind of almost in control. But even in like every relationship, whether gay, lesbian, whatever it is, there's always a masculine and a feminine role. So if the girl's trying to be masculine and the guy is naturally masculine, it's just like all they do is just kind of battle each other out. So what exactly is
Yeah.
submitting mean to you?
So like the way I look at it, like submitting is just, being kind of like submissive, like
Mhm.
kind of just like trying not to let not I'm not trying to like codependent on like patriarchy, but kind of like that, like just trying to be like more submissive to your partner, listen more, be more attentive, this and that. And like coinciding with what you just said, like I do believe that if two like power people, like let's say like they're really strong minded, I feel like they wouldn't be a really good couple because you know how they say like opposites attract. For example, you need like like a hothead, like someone that's more understanding to like make the like relationship more like wholesome and more like well rounded, as opposed to
Mhm.
like two people are like kind of the same, where it's gonna be like kind of like struggling for that power.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So have you, because this is a problem too. Like I know a lot of girls that date feminine guys, but they can't stand it after a while. Have you had any of that experience before?
Yeah. So I have,
Mhm.
but personally, I don't mind a partner that's a little bit feminine, but if it gets a little bit too feminine, that's where I
Mhm.
have a problem with. If I start to feel like I'm like less girly than like my partner, that's when I'm like, okay, like what am I doing? Like I
Yeah.
need someone to like, like be more macho than me. Like, like let's say like put in a scenario, let's we're walking down like a dark street. I want someone to take care of me, not someone to be like,
Mhm.
oh, like, hide behind me as well. So
Yeah.
like I have, and it kind of sucks. And like personally for me, it's kind of like a slippery slope because I like it, but not too much. So it's kind of like,
Mm.
yeah.
I know Jen's had an experience with a lot of feminine guys. So,
Yeah, a
Jen, do you want
lot.
to talk about that? Like, what is it like dating feminine guys?
Feminine guys. They're a lot. They're a lot. It becomes kind of like a power struggle in a way, like where like the it's like you have to step up instead of them.
Mm,
Hmm.
And I had to deal with some issues with emotions. Like I'm very distant. I like me time a lot. I like being by myself and having a lot. But dating a feminine guy, it's kind of like they want to talk to you 24/7. They always want you to be around. It's like constant, constant, constant. And it gets very overwhelming and it feels like you have to give up a part of yourself to make them happy. And it just becomes a lot from my
mm.
experience with dating a feminine guy.
What about the emotions? Because I know that was another thing too. It was like you having to deal with guys' emotions and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, all the time, all the time. It sounds. It's kind of like basically what you hear from what a guy complains about. Like they'll say stuff like, "Oh, you don't love me enough. You don't spend enough time with me." And it's like I do care. It's just, I guess
You're
I don't.
smothering me.
You're bothering me, and
Just like get
you
the
probably
fuck off
don't.
me, man.
Yeah,
Mm,
and you probably don't see it the way I show it, I guess.
Do you agree with that, Brianna, or no? Or do you have like some type of differences or anything?
But this is only my experience.
Yeah, so I feel like I'm the opposite of Jen. So like I'm kind of like the emotional one. So like I'm more like I want to be like the clingy one. But
Hmm.
in my prior partners, they haven't been as clingy as I have. So I've always been like the one like asking for more, you know?
Mm,
So it's kind of like the opposite. It's just I don't know. But
asking,
even with
asking for
that,
more.
yeah, even for that feminine guy, like I feel like he was still a little distant as well, even though he was still a little feminine. I just feel like he just didn't know how to like show his emotions, but he was still
Mm.
feminine. So it's kind of like, so
Yeah, that's a problem that a lot of guys have is I talk about this in my a lot of my podcast episodes. It was guys showing their emotion. And it's like guys typically aren't used to that. And it's not because I hate hearing this shit. It's like society like when they say society has oppressed y'all and y'all can't be emotional and some shit. It's like that's not why at all. It's just I guess for one, a lot of men feel like they don't like nobody really cares about their problems. And so we don't get a lot of practice with our emotions. But then also when we start dating and we start going out like in middle school, high school, college, whatever it is. This is something I talked about in my last episode too. It was when we start giving our emotions, it's kind of harder to control because we start acting a little bit more feminine because it's kind of like we're not used to it. So that actually ends up repelling the women that we're with. And so a lot of guys have been like, okay, I'm tired of this because I've given my emotions, I've done this, I've told her I loved her, I told her how I felt. And in the end, I just get, like the kind of fucked over type, bitter type thing. So they just
yeah.
become like more like distant with their emotions. They don't have a lot of practice with it. So that was one big problem. But what would you say for both of y'all was the biggest problem in y'all's relationships that y'all have had so far? Like, or top, like the most common problems that y'all have had as women dealing with men?
um, Cheating. Cheating's a big one.
Definitely,
Lying.
definitely. Oh,
Uh,
lying is the main one for me. Yeah.
mhm, mhm.
Being lying.
Uh, Communication mostly. It was mostly communication. It's like you communicate with them, but it's like they're not computing it,
Mhm.
and it's like you guys can talk to each other, but you guys are not like connecting in a way you guys understand each other kind of way.
So have y'all ever actually broken up with anybody who's cheating on y'all, or did y'all kind of stay stuck, like stay around with them?
I've the first time I ever got cheated on, I immediately left him
Really?
immediately. Yeah, so and we were together for 3 years, and like that destroyed me. But I mean, like I wasn't gonna be with someone like that. But the second time with a different partner, I got cheated on. It wasn't really physically, but I felt like it was more like emotionally, because like he was like talking to other girls, and like nudes, this is not wanting to meet up, whatever. And so like I kind of like let that slide a little bit. And so I don't know if that was, but you know what I mean, like that is considered cheating, kind of. But
Yeah. So what does that make you feel like whenever you feel like the guy's cheating on you? Like as a woman, what does it feel like for
Mhm.
y'all to get cheated on as a woman?
Uh, I'd say the same thing, betrayal.
Yeah.
Like really, really hurt. It goes from like really, really hurt to like anger, and it goes to like I want to like lash out at them in a way or get them back in kind of way. Like you want to like make them hurt as much as you've been hurt kind of thing. Or
yeah.
Jen, I've known Jen for a while. She has a big problem with that.
I
She
did.
likes getting people back. She likes being
Oh
petty.
yeah.
She
I'm
likes the revenge.
extremely
Is,
picky. Like
is
I an eye for an eye.
You like to get even.
yeah.
Yeah, I like to get even.
Okay.
I would
So
say like yeah, same here, but I feel like I like whenever that happens to me,
mhm,
it like it makes me feel more insecure. So I feel like it like really like makes me feel like shit ultimately. Like yeah, I'm mad, but ultimately I feel like oh like what could I've done to like, make it better? Like why am I not better? This and that. And like I don't know, I feel like ultimately it just it makes me like my whole like psyche mentality like question myself, and I'm like what the hell. And
mhm,
I feel like that shouldn't really like be the problem, but unfortunately it is.
mhm.
And after I get over that, I do like start getting to that like revenge type of thing where I'm like, I'm gonna like
Hmm.
do whatever I can to make him hurt. So
So would you say it makes you feel like you're not enough as a woman?
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Like I just like I don't know, it just makes it would make you feel insecure if your partner cheat on you. Like, oh, like what if you just see like an attractive girl somewhere and you're alone? Like, would you like hit on her? Would you do something to her? Like when you're not with me? So like it
Hmm.
just makes your mind go wild. That's the thing that just happens after like you like experience that. Your mind just goes wild with any possibility, and you just think of like anything and everything stupid. And you just like ultimately you go crazy. Like essentially you go insane, just
Yeah.
thinking about that.
Yeah, that's the main difference that I see between men and women. When women get cheated on, it makes it feel like they're not enough. When guys get cheated on, we just project more outwardly instead of going inwardly. Like women go inwardly, men go outwardly. So a lot of times, like it's not out of pettiness either. It's like sometimes we'll want to fight the guy or something like that. Um, I mean, I guess that would probably be the best way to say it. Like, we don't question who we are as men. I guess we don't go like, oh, what was it about me that made her cheat on me? Just kind of more
Yeah.
like, I guess in a possessive way with cheating for men. It's like you were mine and now you're this guy's, and fuck that guy. Like I don't want you with him, and you know all that type of shit. And then
Yeah.
you start playing the guys start playing the games of like manipulation, which is something I want to talk about with you girls, is like the way that men manipulate to get what they want from women. And so
Mhm.
if they see like a woman starts getting like too distant from them, if they feel like they had you, but then now you're starting to get distant, even if they were distant themselves as a guy, they'll typically start being like, "Oh, babe, like I miss you. I want you back. I want this. I want so and so." Until you come back, and then they flip it again, and they're like, "All right, you're here again. You're mine again. Let me just like I could do my own thing over here now because I got you." That type of shit.
Exactly.
So
Mhm.
have y'all had that? Like, what are the manipulation and the games that guys play? That y'all have noticed.
Mm, maybe doing all the wrong things, and then they see that like you're probably walking away or about to like leave. They apologize and do everything that's right, and then go back to doing everything that's wrong, like a roller coaster. So you're constantly questioning yourself and questioning his motives and what to do and what does he really mean it, kind of like an up and down emotional um, roller coaster.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like, but a lot of girls like that though. Like, y'all stay in those type of relationships a lot of the times. Would you say?
Oh,
I
yeah.
I would say girls stay in those relationships because I'm definitely one of them. Just
Mhm.
purely out of comfort. out of comfort. You know, you know this person for so long, you've invested like X amount of time with them, you know, you've had these memories, you know, you don't want to like stray away and like start fresh with somebody new. So you'd rather just try and fix it, just go on and just, you know, like bite your tongue, just wish for the best and wish they would get better, you know, like as a person overall. But like after a while, like shit is not adding up. It's not, you know, helping. So you just gotta leave. You have no other option but to leave. But that's when you like reach like your top tier, like
Mhm.
you're fed up, you know. But
Mhm.
yeah, the
Hardly
manipulation is the guys know what they're doing too. I feel like they do know because a,
explain that one.
a previous person I was dealing with a while ago,
Yeah.
um, he knew damn well what he was doing with me. He knew he was like gaslighting me. He knew he was manipulating me. He knew everything what to say to like reel me back in. And then once he
Mhm.
had me, treated me like shit. Told me he didn't want to be with me. This and that. And then when I left him, he was like, "Oh, but I didn't mean that." I'm like, "Huh?" Like, but you just told me like 2 days ago, like you don't want to be with me. Now you're like all of a sudden changing your mind. And
Mhm.
so it's just they know what they're doing. And like he knew damn well. He's like, "Yeah, I know I'm manipulating you, but like I'm sorry, I want to be blah blah blah." It's like, no.
I'll say it definitely does take a maturity. Like when I was, younger in middle school, high school, man, like I cheated so many times. But like there were certain times when I was like, man, I don't really want to cheat, but I keep doing it. And I didn't understand it because I didn't understand myself at the time. Like I used to think that cheating was like you can control it obviously, but just everybody has their different struggles and everything. So for me, a struggle of mine was I just wanted to have fun. I just wanted to place my own needs, my own whatever I wanted, my own desires above everyone else about whoever I was dating. It's not that I didn't like the women that I was dating because I did. It's
Mhm.
just when you put your own self above, anything. Like it's fine if you're single, but when you're in a relationship, you really have to like work together as a team. And if you're not working together as a team, if your mindset when you're with somebody is all about me and I and what do I want, what can I get, how can I get this from this person? Okay, I'm tired of this person. Let me talk to this person instead. It's kind of a struggle for guys, especially like because we want to fuck everything all the time. So, and I didn't
Sometimes.
realize that. Yeah, I didn't realize that. Like, um, and I said this in one of my other episodes. It was that it's more of a commitment to ourself than it is to the woman not to cheat. And I had to struggle with that part. I had to wrestle with it. And just over time, it takes maturity. But in middle school, high school, I don't think anybody should really be, in my opinion, I don't think people should be really committing to anybody. What I mean
Definitely
is
not.
like, yeah, I think they should just be like dating, but like make it clear, like be honest about what you want, like where you're at. If I would have known, like I could have just said, like, hey, and the girls that I was dating when I was in middle school, high school, whatever it was, I would have just been more truthful and been like, "Hey, look, I'm not looking for a relationship. I do like you, but I'm still want to talk to whatever because I don't know what I want yet." But at the same time, since we're not taught how to handle relationships, like we don't know anything about that. We just get into a relationship and then another one, and we just kind of try to figure it out on the way. Going through all the fuck ups, like learning everything on our own. Like our parents don't teach us how to have relationships. The examples we do have from our family members and from those closest to us, our friends, their relationships are fucked up and everybody wants to get into people's other relationships and business and say they're doing this, he's doing that, I heard this. And especially with social media and everything right now, it's just everybody knows your crap on social media if you post it.
Yeah,
So
so
with
true.
lying, um when you say lying, like how do you think that people can be more open and honest more? Because this is something that I talked about before too. It was like a lot of girls say that they'll want honesty, but then when we give them honesty as men, they end up flipping out on us and being like super highly emotional. Like, granted, there are certain cases where I understand, but if you're always flipping out on us as men, it teaches us, okay, I can't be open and honest with you. I have to hide these things because I have to hear your crap. I have to hear this. I have to hear your emotions, and I don't want to deal with it. So I'm going to lie to you. Um, but also, this does come from, like, for example, with myself, it was a trauma that I learned from my parents because I felt like I never could get what I want without having to lie about it, and they made me feel like I could never tell the truth. And so when I realized it came from my parents, then I had to do the work of okay, let me go inside myself and figure out how do I get rid of this? How do I learn to be honest more, especially with people that I care about, because you don't want to hurt them and shit like that. So, for example, here's a little funny example. Like if a woman asks you like, "Hey, do I look fat in this?" Are you expecting honesty or do you want us to lie to you?
I
What would
think
you
it
say?
depends on the girl. Some girls
Really?
do honesty. Yeah, some girl legitly wants to know if it looks bad on them. But yeah, a majority of girls they want to hear a compliment
So
and
if
they want.
if a man says to you like, "Okay, yeah, you look a little fat in that. You should probably change." What would you do? Brianna, I want to hear you. Yeah.
I would get offended. I would get offended, but I mean, I would appreciate the honesty because I mean, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
want to look like a whole ass mess out in the street, you know? But I would be like a little hurt, not gonna lie, but I would ultimately, like I would like be okay with it because I remember a few years ago, it was like a couple like a decade ago,
Mhm.
I was like I was bigger, and then I remember like one of my family members was like, "Oh, like you're getting big, like you should lose some weight." And I remember being like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm hurt." But like I like looking back now, like I'm like, yeah, I was a little bit, chunky. Like I should have lost some weight. So I was hurt, but ultimately I did appreciate it.
So would you say
So
you would respect it more if a man told you like straightforward, just be like honest with you, like, yeah, you look like that, or this is what's going on right now? Would you say you respect it more even if it hurts you, or how would you feel?
yeah, I'll probably respect it more because I mean, honesty, like I don't want to look like a mess. I want to look my best. Like me being like the type of girl I am, like makeup, everything. Like I don't want to look like too. I don't know, but I would appreciate it if somebody said something like that. Or like oh like or something's like popping out or oh this isn't that. Like I would appreciate like the like the heads up.
Mm. I
So
know Jen
yeah.
has a good experience with that with her parents. Like, you want to talk
Oh,
about that? About your mom and all
yeah,
that stuff?
but I think that's
Especially,
a cultural thing.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, this is heavy in the Asian culture. So, if you want to explain what your mom would say and all that type of stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. My mom used to call me fat all the time. Like call me fat. Like you need to lose weight. My family is from China. I go visit them, and they're always like, "Oh, you look so good. If only you lost a little bit more weight." And it hurts. It's like it really gets in your head. It's all like, "Oh my god,
Mm,
I need to lose weight. I need to be fit into their image of beauty and stuff." And it just like really like a girl's beauty, it's like everything to them. It really gets in their head and like it's kind of
definitely.
like where they get like their confidence and their self-esteem a lot. Um I I wish I knew why it is so important to us, but it is.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So that's what I would say, like parents, like because this is my main theme around a lot of things I talk about is parents, it's people, and helping. Because parents fuck up their kids so much. Like me and Jen have had the conversation several times. Like I couldn't imagine like telling my kid or something like that, like something negative and destructive like that. And these parents, maybe they know, maybe they don't know, maybe they have some shit that they need to deal with themselves that they haven't dealt with, so they push it on their kids. And it's just they fuck up their kids so much when they tell them shit like that. So like right now, because I have a son, so everything I tell my son is like I make sure to build a mindset in him, like, hey, I tell him repeat after me. I'm like, hey, say this, say, I'm smart, I'm intelligent, I am rich, I am successful, I can do anything I put my mind to. I make sure I set the tone of what my child is going to be like and think about when he grows in the future. And I think a lot of parents need to be doing that too. But going back
Yeah.
to something we talked about, communication. What problems have y'all had communicating with guys? Like what is it like? Because I know a lot of women, they'll be like, "Oh, men just don't get it. What's wrong with them? Like, why can't they see this? Why can't they see that?" So, what type of things have y'all had problems with communicating with guys that you wish that they would just understand or something like that?
Well, one of my problems was when I try to communicate with a guy, it's like talking to a brick wall. They don't want to hear you. They they just walk away, like ignore you for about a week or two from my experience.
Dang, bro.
Like a week or two. And then they'll be all like, okay, I want to talk now.
Mhm.
after and during that whole week, us women were like thinking about it constantly. It's like eating ourselves up because we just want to resolve it. It seems like you guys just want to avoid the problem.
Would you say the same for you too, Brianna, or do you have other experiences as well on top of that one?
Um, when communicating, I feel like I would try to communicate, but I feel like, the other person wouldn't care. He like definitely didn't care. He
Mhm.
would literally, it'd be like through one ear and out through the next. It would like, he wouldn't retain the information. Like he was hearing it, but he wasn't listening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I was essentially like wasting my breath because like this dude wasn't even caring, you know?
Mhm.
So I mean, they don't really care. And like when you talk about serious stuff like that, I feel like guys often see that as being dramatic or like, oh, she's being emotional, she has to calm down right now. She needs to take some time. But I mean, I feel like having that time is like, making the relationship like more far apart, I feel like if you give me my time to like settle down and like calm down, I just don't want to even like talk to you anymore. I just want to like not even deal with this anymore. Personally for me. That's how I
Mhm.
was. So yeah, talking is a no-go to guys.
So when you say don't care, so what would make you feel like they did care?
Them like understanding and engaging, but the main thing with
Mhm.
caring, I feel like is action. Like me telling you, but then you actually proving it to me in your actions. Because I mean, you can say anything you want with words, but essentially it comes down to just your actions. If
Mhm.
you like, if I tell you, hey, be more caring, be more thoughtful, oh, like, or call me like cuter names, or like give me more attention, this and that, and he like and they don't care, or they say okay, 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 yeah, whatever, 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 that's like
Mhm.
dismissing it. But if they actually be like okay, and then they actually like do it, like let's say the next day or like something like that, I feel like that's how like they're actually listening and stuff,
Mhm.
or like just engaging in like my conversation.
Yeah, so for men, this is really difficult because, to be honest, a lot of times when women talk to us and there's a problem going on, to being blunt, we can't handle all the words y'all are saying, and so we just see like a lot of like dramatic, like we see all the emotion, we hear all the words, and it's just kind of like in our mind, we're just like, oh my god, this woman is talking way too much. So usually, what ends up happening too is like we we end up more arguing more because you're trying to prove your point, I'm trying to prove my point, and just nothing is really achieved and stuff like that. So since men, what I tell them to do a lot is really, and this does take practice as much as simple as you think it is just to don't say nothing, like just listen. And this is something I really had to practice because the part of like the guy, the masculinity part is like it's you're telling me about your problems, but you want me to listen. But my thing, like, what I feel inside is I wanna fix it, but the way that I fix it is by, like, interjecting and being like, "Well, why don't you do this? Why can't you do that? Why can't whatever so and so?" But that's not what really women want. They just want you to just honestly just be quiet and listen. And that was something that I really had to struggle with because it goes against everything inside who I am as a man. And even, like, being present with them, like, guys, if, guys, the way that we're present with each other, we're just hanging out with a couple of my guy friends, whatever it is, and I mean that's all it takes. We could be on our phone, we could be drinking a beer, whatever. We don't have to talk to each other. We'll say words every now and then, but that's our idea of being present with each other. But with women, it's kind of like if you're on your phone while they're around, if you're doing something else or doing 10 other things and they're around, they want your undivided attention. And guys really don't understand that. Would you say you agree with that, or what would you add to fix those communication problems? Either one of
I would
y'all.
I would agree, like just like listening, like that's all you can do, because I feel like if you just keep bickering back and forth, you're just like adding more fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Jen, do you
Yeah.
have anything to say or add?
Uh, Sometimes I feel like we would like a little more feedback too. It's a little bit more than just listening. I need some feedback. I need to, you know, how do you feel about the situation and stuff like that too?
Mhm.
Because I don't know, personally for me, like I appreciate the listening part and being silent, but I kind of want to know like how do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? I want your feedback as well. and
Mhm.
like just instead of me just talking and saying that way we can get like I don't know how to describe it. I guess both an opinion on it on a
Mhm.
situation. Yeah.
Like, give us an example, because I know one of my friends, they used an example of, sex, and they said that, whenever the girl whenever they're both done, the girl would be like, "So how was it? Whatever. What did you like or whatever?" And the guy would be like, "It was good." And then she's like, "What the fuck? Like, why can't you give me more like like
Yeah.
what about it was good? Like tell me something, tell me more." But as guys, we understand that's how we talk. Like if I'm talking to another guy friend and I said, "Dude, it was good sex." That's all we need to know. Like we put everything else together. We don't need to know about the she did this, dude, she did that. I love what she did this, all that type of stuff. But I know just like it's just a difference in communication between how guys talk and how women talk. So I thought it was pretty funny. So that is one good example. But did you have anything else to add, Brianna?
Yeah, I feel like when it comes to like that kind of stuff, that actually kind of plays in with it too. Like women have a lot more to say than men, just like, in like details or in exaggerating or like, expressing your feelings or expressing your problem, arguments. I feel like that's why women have more things to say, whereas like guys are kind of like, like one single sentence or one single word. But like I feel like that kind of stuff does get irritating after a while because like we want to hear more. We want to hear more than like, oh, okay, I'll change, I'll do better. But like, oh, I don't know, like like stuff like that. I feel like you need more like substance rather than like single like words.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, guys are very to the point. So if we're talking to each other, it's this, this, this. Not like, okay, let's talk about 10,000 words in this one topic. And because a lot of times what happens is when women talk to men, it's like you said, it's kind of like we hear a bunch of words and just kind of we try to absorb it. But what we're doing as a man is we're looking for the points in the story. And if we can't find them and they're all over the place, we're like, all right, my mind is just like, I'm trying, but my mind is just, it's not there anymore. So that's what we do as men. I had a question for Brianna because you're 2021, right?
I'm 22.
22. Okay, 22. So,
Yeah.
do you hear this a lot? Is this a problem in like when you were in school or something like that, or even now? Because what I see a lot of now is it goes back to the submission thing, the submitting to the guy and all that type of stuff. Um, the girls will call those type of girls pygmies. Have you heard that a lot or no?
Yeah, but I feel like those pick me girls are different. I feel like pick me girls are the type of girls that are like kind of for lack of better words, desperate.
Really?
Like yeah, I feel like pick me girls are like the ones that are wanting more attention or you're wanting like, like validation basically.
Hmm.
And I feel like that is like I feel like that's the definition of a pick me girl. Like just like validation, like I want to be the main one, even if it's like bad or even if I'm annoying, this and that. So
So what about the
I
girls who are like on TikTok, like shaking their ass and stuff like that? I mean, that's the same thing, looking for validation, and they're looking for like a bunch of guys to be like, "Oh, you look good, you look blah blah blah," and all that type of stuff. So what would you say is like, because they're both, I guess, in the way that you're explaining, they're both looking for attention and validation, but they're looking for it in different ways. There are a lot of girls who try to look for it sexually, so they'll be on TikTok or OnlyFans or whatever it is, and they'll show their body off and they'll show whatever, and they'll get like a bunch of these guys who they'll never date, being like, "Oh, you're so sexy, you're so
mhm,
beautiful, you're so blah blah, you're perfect, baby," like all that type of shit. And then the other
yeah.
girls, it's like, as you said, the ones, what would make those, I guess, different in the way that they're looking for attention? Because you said that, well, you feel like the pick me is looking for
Yeah.
more validation or something. In what way exactly?
Um okay, so like I wouldn't really consider like, those I don't really know honestly. I haven't really thought about this to an extent like those girls that shake their ass on TikTok. I
Mhm,
mean, if they're let's say like if they're doing like, a dance or if they're doing it like, for like another purpose other than, just like full blown shaking their ass in front of like the camera, I
mhm.
feel like, that's not really pick me, but let's say like this girl, she's like standing there, like no content, just no like anything behind it, and just like shaking her ass, like doing the most, like showing her whole body, like almost seeing her like, everything. I feel like that's a little bit more like pick me, kind of type of thing.
Mhm.
But Um, I don't know. I wouldn't. And like how you said the OnlyFans type of thing. I support sex workers. Like
Oh.
I full blown. So like I wouldn't really consider them pick me's either. So I don't really know. I feel like pick me's are just like the annoying like girls. You know, I can't really explain it. It's just like something you just know. I mean, like some people know.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
Jen, what do you think?
Honestly, this is the first time I ever heard of a pick me girl.
You're
I've
on
never
TikTok all the time. How have you not heard of it?
I've never heard of it. I don't even know what it means.
Okay, so the way that
Yeah. So okay. So
go on.
like I'll give you like a scenario like these pick me girls. Okay, so like there's this one thing going around TikTok about like how like my boyfriend's girl best friend, right? And like they show the subtext or like the text, and so the boyfriend's girl best friend is always trying to get with the boyfriend, but the girlfriend is not letting it, so it's basically like the boyfriend's best friend is trying to be a pick me girl. It's trying to like be a one up over the girlfriend. So that
Mhm.
is like considered like a pick me girl. Like, oh, pick me rather than like your own girlfriend, Like make me your number one. Make me like, be I'm gonna be your like priority over like anybody.
Honestly, I wouldn't know how to have a it just because I haven't seen it yet. And but I know what you're talking about.
Mhm.
But I can't I guess don't have a really opinion on it because I don't like exactly know what you're talking about. It
Got it,
sounds
How
got it.
it sounds
I'm
stupid.
I know it's so like ridiculous like on TikTok, but I'm like curious to see how like what do you think is a pick me, Kai? Like a pick me girl.
I like them because I'll tell you why. Because okay, so what I see as a man when I'm on TikTok and I see like I see something whatever TikTok it is, and I'll go to the comments and I'll see the girls be like, oh look another pick me or something like that. Typically, those girls who are saying that they're like more in their masculinity. They're more like the independent, like I don't need a man type girls. That's the type of attitude that I see from them. And the girls who are not that there aren't girls who I mean, don't go for attention or validation, but what I see, what they call the pick me girls, is basically like girls who are willing to submit or they're overly agreeable or something like that. That's all my mind goes to, really. But really, I like those girls more because it's like, okay, if I'm going to be with one of them, I don't have to worry about them fucking trying to like be in a battle with me. Like, I don't want to feel like I'm in a battle in my relationship. So I'd rather 100% go with them. Um, than one of the girls who are, like, always calling girls pick me because it's like, I get along with the pick me girls more than the I mean, I can talk to
Yeah.
anybody, but it just seems like there's always more attitude coming from the other side, and I don't wanna deal with that attitude. I'm not gonna deal with it. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's probably like I don't know, now that I'm like hearing your side, there's probably like a couple like definitions of a pick me girl because mine is probably like far drastic than yours.
Yeah. So what
But
makes you support? Because this is something we talked about too before, obviously. What makes you support sex work? Because when me and Jen before you answered, me and Jen when we were growing up, we didn't have all this, I mean, obviously there were cam girls, there've always been cam girls on the internet or whatever it is, or even prostitutes.
yeah.
But when it came to like nudes and stuff like that, no girl was just being like, "Who wants my nudes? He wants to buy my nudes? He wants all this type of shit." Like, um, you actually, as a guy, we actually had to work with whatever we had. So what I mean by that is, girls when they are attracting a guy, they have their sexuality that they use or whatever it is, but that's mainly what they go towards, or like the implication that sex could occur between us. For
Hmm.
guys, we have to use, if we have our looks, sure, but we have to use our charm. We have to use how well we talk to people, like our speaking, our communication skills. We have to use whatever we have, whatever we've learned, if it's dancing, whatever it is, because I told Jen this before. Brianna, how would you feel if you see a guy and you're like, damn, that guy's really good looking? Then, he comes up to you, he approaches you, but when you start talking to him, he's just really boring. He has nothing to say. He's just kind of like, in your mind, you're like, okay, when is this conversation going to be over? How do you feel about that? How would you feel about it?
How would I feel if like somebody's boring? I'm talking to them or
Yeah, like, okay, so if you see a good looking guy, but he has no communication skills and he's boring and he approaches you and he's just kind of awkward and stuff like that,
completely cut it off. Like
right?
I need to have substance. I need to have like a personality, not just like, this like what are they called, like, tools? Like, I can't deal with
Yeah.
that. Like,
Yeah.
no.
That's the difference between guys and girls is that guys will talk to fucking the McDonald's worker that has no personality, that has whatever, all any of that shit. But girls, if you have looks and you have nothing else behind it, like a girl would be like, dude, that's just a waste of your looks, man. Like that sucks, type of shit.
True.
But the funny thing is that the main reason why guys like me and whoever else has a problem with it, a lot of girls think because it's like, oh, they're trying to control my body, they're trying to control whatever, and it's like it has nothing to do with that as a guy. It's more of, especially for, because there's only like a 6 7 year difference between me and you, Brianna, and a 2 year difference between me and Jen.
Yeah.
Um, it was even like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever it was, pre-pandemic. Um, the message was from girls like, don't objectify us, we are more than our body, stop, stop objectifying us, stop whatever. And then pandemic happens and like, oh shit, I need to make some money or whatever it is, and then or they got bored or something. And then now you just see all the girls on OnlyFans, and they're just like they're encouraging other girls to get on OnlyFans, and it's like, come on, like, I guess for good men that actually want something real, we don't want to know that our partner, like, their nudes are all over the fucking internet, because on
Mhm.
if girls put them on OnlyFans, a lot of times now, especially, it doesn't stay on OnlyFans. Like, I know so many guys, they'll take screenshots or whatever it is, or they'll record their screen and they'll put it on Reddit or something like that. And it's like
Yeah.
that turns a man off.
Yeah.
Typically, there are some guys who are like, I don't care if a girl does OnlyFans, but it's like usually those are the more average guys.
Mhm.
When I say average, it's like just any guy you could find anywhere, really. Like, to find an actual good,
Mhm.
like, man who is actually worth something, has goals, ambitions, all this type of stuff. We want a girl who doesn't feel like she needs to do that. But it's
Mhm.
just it's girls encouraging other girls to do it. Because I don't feel like that's something, if you want to do it, then do it. But I don't think you should encourage other girls to do it. And I feel like the reason why they encourage other girls to do it is because I feel like deep down they know like something, like they shouldn't be doing it, or there's like a type of shame about doing it. So they encourage other
Mm.
girls so that way they can be like, well, at least they're doing it. So it gives me more of a reason to be like, okay, I could do it too. Like, what is your agreement or disagreement or stuff like that?
I don't really think that there's some kind of guilt. I feel like there's always a profession for somebody, you know. There's some people out there that are not meant to work a 9 to 5. There's some people that are not meant to be like in those corporate jobs or like, have like a regular job. So they do view like sex work, for example, like porn or like even just doing like media, like stuff on the internet, like promoting this and that. Like they use that as like a way for income and stuff. And so since I feel like people now that everything's becoming more like internet, since the whole pandemic, like everything's like become more susceptible to internet. People have like realized like, oh, you can make money like doing remote jobs just at home, right?
Mhm.
So I feel like with women, for example, like they saw that they can, put up a few pictures online and so like, oh, make a few bucks, do $100 and like slowly like people started getting like hundreds and thousands of dollars and started making like bank on OnlyFans. And then, this probably like encourages other women to make their money. And I'm all for that. Like if you want to do it and if you're totally comfortable with like putting yourself out there and it's going to be there forever and it's more than likely going to be like posted on Reddit or anywhere else or like your whole entire town is going to see, your family's going to see, then like go do it. But um I I support it wholeheartedly, and I feel like women nowadays are getting more comfortable in their bodies, and like they're like how you said, women are being more like, what, I don't need a man, I can support myself. Therefore, they're gonna do whatever it takes to like get that bag. So I feel like this is just like the steps in like the direction for like women empowerment type of thing. Like whereas in the porn industry where I've heard you don't really make that much money as opposed to like OnlyFans, because OnlyFans you just take everything, whereas in the porn industry you just like they give you shit money. And I think I saw it on like Mia Khalifa's TikTok. She was like talking
Yeah,
about it. She's like I took ownership of my own body, like they're not like did like using my stuff for other stuff, but like yeah, it was kind of like that. So
yeah.
I mean, I'm all for it.
She was a good example too, though, because she actually quit the porn industry for a couple years, and she wanted to.
Mhm.
Did you hear her interview or whatever when she was talking about why she quit?
Vaguely, a little bit.
It
So
was
it was
something
like,
like, oh, go ahead.
oh no, go ahead.
it was something like, "I don't wanna be known just for this. I wanna have actual skills. I wanna do other things, I don't wanna do this. I'm tired of doing this." People don't She was kinda seeing, like, people don't really respect her for anything else other than just her body. And
Mhm.
so she went into, like, I think it was trying to become, like, a sports communicator or, like, a talk show or something like that, but she didn't like doing that. So she went to something else and then something else, and then finally she went back and she was, like, all proud about going back into OnlyFans and stuff, but even now she's still trying. It seems like she's trying to, because 'cause she'll pop up on my TikTok every now and then, but it seems like even now she's still trying to get
Mhm.
out of it, and I just feel like it's a struggle between staying in it and, like, 'cause it's a respect basically to me, because it's like men understand respect, I think, in a way that is different than women do, because with men, and I was telling Jen this all the time, like, the way that men earn respect by each other is because we have to accomplish something, we have to build something, we have to create something, we have to prove that we are worthy of respect. Like, every guy will give, like, majority of guys that baseline level of respect, but anything extra added, it's earned. And a lot
Mhm.
of women, I see them, they want automatically the same type of level of respect that we respect men. But I guess we just, the way that we see it is just kind of like it doesn't take a lot of skill to post naked selfies. And so that, like, I, like I said, I don't mind if girls doing it. I just don't think it should be like encouraged other girls, because especially as women get older, like 30, 35, whatever it is, those looks go. And you're not going to have that same amount of attention and the same amount of fans and all that type of stuff. So if you're not
Yeah.
working on other skills and all that type of shit, then it's kind of like by 30, 35, and you're barely learning how to create other skills or whatever it is. So that then you're kind of fucked,
Yeah.
because your looks are gone, or they're pretty much on that way to leaving.
That's true. So like that's one thing I've like always thought about too. Like the sex workers are like young right now. I feel like they need to have like a backup plan, or they need to have like something in like for the future, like have a degree, have some kind of skill set, have some type of like backup or like business plan. Whereas like when all that um OnlyFans sex work is done, you can fall back on that, and then you can like continue doing your life, like having that income instead of just like being like what, like 30, 40, and like not knowing what to do with your life. So
Yeah,
that is definitely true.
yeah. So is there anything else you would say that you wish guys would understand about girls? Communication. Let's see. I guess in wrapping up, I would say, guys, if you want to learn how to be truthful, just say it. I mean, a lot of times that will, like we said in this podcast, that we feel like if we are honest, we're going to get a lot of emotional lashing or whatever it is from the woman, or have to deal with like this, a bunch of shit. But I promise it's so much easier being honest than it is to kind of lie and have to keep kind of like covering up your lies and then having to backtrack or having whatever it is, because eventually it all comes out. And I've had to learn that several times, and it took me a long ass time. But I'd say that I would say, for women, just understand, men, we communicate differently. So even if you think that we're not listening to y'all or something like that, we really are trying. It's just we are looking for those main points in what you're saying, and when there's so many words, our brains kind of like, you know can't process it as much. But on that, I think that was a good episode. And if you guys like, check out our other episodes. This will be video. This is on Spotify, iHeartRadio, a bunch of other episodes, podcast platforms and stuff like that. So check it out, and we will see you guys later.